look at your shadow, what if it moves before you do? Some people have already seen it happen. Shadows always follow us. Every step, every movement, they never act on their own. But sometimes something feels off because not every shadow behaves the way it should. Shadows are supposed to move exactly with us. They follow every step, every motion without delay. That is why some real recordings feel so disturbing. In one case, a security camera showed a man walking at night under a single light, his shadow stretched along the wall beside him. Everything looked normal at first, but when the video was slowed down, something strange appeared. For a brief moment, the shadow stopped while the man kept walking. Then it quickly caught up again. In another case, a woman stood still under a streetlight. She was not moving at all, but her shadow suddenly shifted and seemed to tilt its head slightly. The woman stayed completely still. The movement did not match her body. These situations are simple and clear. There are no complex lights or distractions. That is what makes them unsettling. The shadow does not just change shape, it behaves differently. When something that should always follow you begins to act on its own, even for a second, it creates doubt. Because a shadow is not supposed to do that. From a scientific point of view, shadows are straightforward. They are created when an object blocks light. Their shape and movement depend entirely on the position of the object and the light source. There is no known mechanism that allows a shadow to act independently. When unusual shadow behavior is observed, it is often explained as an illusion. Light can reflect, bend, or overlap in ways that create unexpected visual effects. In some cases, multiple light sources can produce overlapping shadows that appear to move differently. Human perception can also misinterpret movement, especially in low-light environments. However, many of the reported cases do not fully match these explanations. The lighting conditions are often simple and controlled. A single light source is clearly visible, and there are no reflective surfaces nearby. The camera angle remains stable, removing the possibility of perspective distortion. What makes these situations more difficult to explain is timing. The shadow does not just change shape, it appears to react at a different moment than the person. In some instances, it seems to move first. That contradicts the basic rule that a shadow must always follow the object creating it. If a shadow can move before the person, then the relationship between them is no longer purely physical. This creates a gap between what science predicts and what is being observed. And in that gap, uncertainty begins to grow. When science cannot fully explain something, alternative ideas begin to appear. One of the most discussed theories suggests that shadows may not always be empty projections. Instead, they could act as a surface where something else becomes visible. In many cultures, there are stories about entities that do not exist in a fully physical form. These entities are often described as being present but not directly visible. They are seen indirectly through reflections, silhouettes, or sudden movement at the edge of vision. According to this theory, shadows provide a perfect medium for such presence. They already exist as dark shapes without detail. If something were to influence them, the change might be subtle but noticeable. A slight delay, a small movement, or a shift that does not match the body could be enough to reveal that influence. People who claim to have experienced this often describe a strong sense of awareness. The shadow appears more defined than usual, almost as if it has weight or intention. In some cases, it seems to react before the person does, creating the impression that it is not simply following. There is no scientific proof that confirms this idea. However, the consistency of these experiences raises questions. When different people describe similar events without connection to each other, it suggests that something unusual may be happening, even if it is not yet understood. Personal experiences often make this phenomenon feel more real. One account describes a situation in a quiet, dimly lit space with a single light source positioned behind the person. The shadow was clearly visible on the ground in front. The individual was standing still and fully aware of his surroundings. There were no distractions and nothing unusual at first. The shadow matched his position exactly, just as expected. Then something changed. The shadow's arm began to lift slowly. The movement was smooth and controlled. The person immediately checked his own body, but he had not moved at all. There was no physical action that could explain what he was seeing. He turned around to look behind him, expecting to find another person or a second light source. The space was empty. The light had not changed, and nothing had entered the scene. When he looked back at the ground, the shadow had returned to normal. It matched his body again, as if nothing had happened. What makes this experience unsettling is the clarity of the moment. There was no confusion, no distraction, and no external cause. The shadow moved on its own, even if only briefly. That leaves a final question. If a shadow can move without the person, even once, then it is no longer just a reflection. And if that is true, then the next time you see your shadow, you may start to wonder whether it is always following you, or if sometimes it leads. Next time you see your shadow, pay attention to it. Watch how it moves, because one day it might not follow you the way you expect.